Well, that's why you're on the naughty list, because you're being naughty right now. So you're going to be on the naughty list if you keep talking like that.
No, because Father Christmas is not being very nice to me.
Because you're being naughty, so you're on the naughty list.
No, I'm not. I'm on the good list, actually.
You're not, because you ain't being good.
I am on the good list. If you keep saying that word again and again and again, I'm not on naughty list.
Father Christmas rang me last night when I was at work and said, you better tell Jackson to start being a good boy or he's going to stay on the naughty list and he won't get no presents for Christmas. That's what he said to me. So you got to start being a good boy.
Then I will do an uppercut to him.
No, you won't do it. No, what?
I'm going to this. Punch him. Punch his beard off.
You're just silly, man.
Hey, trust me, I'm not on bad list.
Brunch. Hit it, boys.
Merry Christmas, Pete.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Tej.
How was your festive season?
It's I haven't done any Christmas shopping. I have put my tree up and put no decorations on it, but that's it's good enough for me.
I haven't either. It used to be a thing. Like, hey, guys, they always wait till the last minute to do their Christmas shopping, and they're freaking out the day before Christmas or a couple days before Christmas. And then Amazon happened, and it was like, all right, well, that's won't,
acceptable.
That
now.
won't be a worry because you can never be too late because you have Amazon. It can get there tomorrow if you want. And that absolutely still happens, though. That you don't do any of your shopping until, like, well, what's today? December 12th? Mm-hmm. Haven't even thought about it.
Yeah, same.
I bought one present, but it was only because, like, I saw it, and I was like, this would make a good present for so-and-so. Boom, buy that now. Man, off to an early start. I always say that Christmas shopping should be like a year-round thing. It's like thinking of your Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Like, don't just start thinking about it in October. Always keep an eye out. If you see something that reminds you of somebody that they might like, go ahead and pick it up. I absolutely don't do that, though.
I would love to do that, and I say that every year, but like you just don't think about it unless it's pressing in your mind. At least not for me.
Yeah.
Like I see things throughout the year, and I think of things throughout the year that I'm like, oh, that'd be a great Halloween costume, or it'd be a great Christmas present. But I'm like, oh, I'll get it next week, or I'll save it. I'll remember it, and then I don't remember it, and then whatever the holiday comes, and I just totally forget, and I'm trying to rack my brain a million miles an hour trying to think of this present or this costume, and just nowhere to be found.
Here's a brain teaser for you. How would you rate the current holiday spirit, not just for you, but overall? How would you say we're doing? The world's doing on holiday spirit?
It's low.
I would say it's quite low.
It's low.
And I got. Did I tell you that I was hate watching a YouTuber? Did I tell you that?
That sounds like you, though.
I was on YouTube and a YouTuber thing popped up on the right, and it was such a ridiculous thing, and it was the most YouTuber thing in the world. I was like, all right, I'm going to watch a YouTuber for a second.
Is it Steve Dangle?
No, it was no. I watched it. Love you, Steve. And I was like, I don't know what made me click it, but I was like, I'm going to watch this and just see if it's what I think it's like. And it was
exactly what
it was. A hate watch. I was not. I didn't love it, but I thought that I mentioned it on here, but I didn't mention who it was because I didn't want it to sound like I'm saying like, hey, this person stinks, or like if you like this person,
not to yuck your yum.
Exactly. Not trying to hate, trying to have a little holiday spirit year round. Mm-hmm. Again, unless it's Greta Van Fleet, don't just like make fun of people. Don't
or
just,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Or the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, right? Mm-hmm. Greta Van Fleet, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Two absolute no-nos.
You're allowed to do that, and I'm allowed to do that because I'm a Led Zeppelin fan and I'm a Queen fan, so it's okay. You can absolutely make fun of them. But the idea... Anyway, so I saw this YouTuber thing, and I was like, man, not for me. And then I watched like 11 more. And like they keep popping up on the right, and every now and then... I'll
like recommended videos.
Hey, right now it's like, hey,
it's like I know what you like.
DJ, now that you're a fan of this YouTuber, here are their videos. So I started watching them, and then last night I saw someone screen grabbed the thing on the right that I initially clicked, and they did it. They screen grabbed it and then tweeted it for the purposes of dragging this person. And all of the I had a lot of retweets, and all the comments were just horrible, so mean. And I don't know, I'm in this weird spot where I'm like,
That was you once.
hey, no, I'm like, hey, I could have been mean. I don't know. I guess I'm patting myself on the back for not saying it's. Do you know who this person is? Allie something.
No.
Allie something. She starts all our videos with, "Hey, best pally, I'm Allie."
Oh,
And then
God.
continues
I
her
hate
video.
it.
Whatever, but you're not going to say you hate her, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like, I don't know. It's like a little lesson in you can dislike things. Don't be super mean about it. And I feel like we've probably been super mean, and we've
For
said
sure.
like this person sucks, and
We don't get personal, though.
yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it upset me very much. Also because this YouTuber reminds me of myself in some ways, in like not in like bad ways. Like when I watch The Office, I don't think you're supposed to identify with. Do you ever identify with Michael Scott?
Not really, but
I
like
do-
his desire to be liked, I guess, maybe.
Okay, so like I identify with Michael Scott a lot, or I did when I would watch The Office. Of like, oh man, this guy, like this, I don't know, like in like the sort of class clown kind of way, and that like it's funny, but I don't know, people could just as easily laugh at you as they
Yeah.
could laugh with you. So like I don't know, I get a little self conscious watching Michael Scott because I'm like, I feel like I've got some of Michael Scott's
Squash?
Crappy qualities. So anyway, like I don't know, that just upsetted me that everybody is crapping on this person who like I've watched enough of her videos. Like she's not doing anything wrong, she's not doing anything mean. I don't think that she's out there hating. So I don't know. Maybe without the actual tweet and without the comments, I'm not painting a good enough picture. But it's just like a reminder that like the goal is to drag people. The
Yeah,
goal
pretty
is
much.
to like, and the video was, and again, not for me. It was, what if Truth Hurts was by Mumford and Sons, and everybody was like, oh, white girl, blah blah, super mean to this girl, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I guess it's
Well, I think like it's funny because like that girl is really chasing the clout by doing. I mean, she probably thinks that it's cool.
Like a lot of her videos are like, what if this Billie Eilish song was
Yeah.
by Michael Jackson?
She's chasing that clout.
Yeah.
And she's doing it in her own way, which is like, you may not like it. You clearly don't really love it.
Not
but
for me.
she's doing
I've
it.
I've watched
She's doing it,
countless
and
videos.
it's working for her, apparently. But, like, on the same hand, these people on Twitter that are dragging her, chasing the clout too. They're just chasing those retweets, chasing that engagement. And they're doing it in their own way, and they're being successful. So they're kind of just both, like, counteracting each other.
Total Entertainment Forever is just blasting in my head right now. That is so weird, though.
It's true. And they're doing the same thing with, like, the same end goal.
We live in a society.
At least you
where-
can say about fucking Allie that
Yeah.
she's being a nice person trying to do. Like, she's not harming anybody.
Yeah.
The people on Twitter are just being nasty,
And
trying to get
folks,
that clout.
If there's stuff about Allie we don't know, feel
Like,
free to
if
text
she's
in.
racist,
right?
let
Like
us
if
know.
if she's like, I don't know, if she like, I don't know, if she's been like arrested or something or
like a
whatever,
tax
She's got
evader.
got a rap sheet. Let us know. I don't know. For me, it just seemed like somebody, a very eccentric person with a lot of energy, just wanted to make a video.
Yeah.
And that's
cool.
Her job, I think that would be her. I checked her Patreon,
Oh, is she doing better than us?
clearing 26 hundo per video.
What?
Her Patreon thing
Damn,
is per
dude.
video. I saw it was like,
Wow.
man, you could do $1. Oh wait, that's $1 video, and that's the lowest one. Wow, and there are people that are dishing out like,
Damn.
yeah, we got to have Allie on and ask her what her secret is.
Don't even ask her about her YouTube channel. Just ask her about, like, Patreon business.
Right.
What do we need to do?
We have the Christmas song this episode, by the way, and it's what if Andy Williams'
World
It's the
premiere.
most wonderful time of the year was by Jermaine Dupri.
Oh, hell yes. That I haven't heard it yet, but I'm very, very excited
Yes,
to
it
hear it.
is.
I'm going to be hearing it with the people. This is a bonding experience for me and the listeners.
So this stinks. As we were talking about how we were going to play this for you the first time, you were like, man, what if we should have like some like world premiere imaging? And I'm like, the
There's time.
world premiere. Yeah,
There's time.
I guess. I don't know. I can't spend any more time.
I
doing
could work
Not
on
like I don't
something.
have the time for it, meaning like I need this song out of my life forever. I wrote it in like a very short amount of time, almost all this, and this is not like a brag because you're going to hear the song and be like, yo, that sounds like somebody wrote it in 2 seconds. But I feel
like that's the point, though.
Christmas songs aren't supposed to be overthought.
No.
I feel like major chord, diminished chord, major chord, easy peasy.
Yeah, and also like the Taylor Swift Christmas song that came out last week, like my first reaction was like, oh man, this is so fucking stupid. And then like the more I thought about it, I was like, well, who cares? It's a fucking Christmas song. All Christmas songs are fucking stupid and they're basic, and that's what you want them to be. You don't need to be like a music critic when it comes to a Christmas song. So I was like, this song is very basic and very stupid. And then like 2 days later, I was like, this song is cool.
It would seem to me that the Taylor song, and I got coworkers who are obsessed with Taylor. There's like a little Taylor hive. I kind of dip in and out. I'm like an honorary member. They don't really like me in the Taylor hive because they're like, that DJ has thoughts on this.
You got to commit or you're out.
Right.
Like
I think
Randy is fully in on the Taylor hive.
But I think that, I don't know, I'll have to ask some friends who are in various Taylor hives. I think I got some clout in the Taylor hives because having I Know Places as your favorite Taylor song, I think is kind of respectable.
Yeah.
I don't know, if I met somebody who was like a big Taylor Swift fan, I Know Places is my favorite Taylor Swift song, I'd be like, yo, I bet you understand that All Too Well is overrated. This guy can think for
himself.
Yeah, we'd probably talk about how All Too Well is...
And then I'm over here being like, Cruel Summer, Jam of the Summer.
Right, yeah. Was there much like Song of the Summerisms with Taylor?
No.
I just remember I was putting. I
feel like Lil Nas X just really just put a coffin in Song of the Summer. There was Song of the Summer discussion this year.
I love that kid. As I become more, I was going to say like Buddhist, whatever the hell I've been getting
Zen?
into lately, where I'm really trying to be cognizant of like,
don't let
when
shit
I'm
bother
like
you.
Mean. No, when I'm mean or when I say something that could like hurt somebody's feelings, I'm trying to back off that because. I don't know, like sometimes somebody can say something to you that's not even that's like run of the mill, but depending on how you're feeling or depending on whatever, you could be like, that sucks. For example, I got really mad at your friend Jim a few weeks ago.
Oh, right, yeah.
Got a friend Jim. He I think he would tell you he likes to put a microscope to everything.
He's a cynic.
He's a bit cynical.
Yeah.
And I said I love Knives Out, and he was like, Did you actually like Knives Out?
You said it was your favorite movie of the year.
So far. And he was like, was it actually your favorite movie? Like, did you really like it more than Parasite? Or are you just saying that because that seems like the you thing to do? And I got like 60 angry feelings all at once.
Because like that's like such a like a I don't know, I don't want to call it like passive aggressive, but it's such a like a layered insult.
It's definitely it's definitely like condescending.
Yeah, for sure. And it's coming from Jim, who sees like 2 movies a year.
Right.
And so like you can like disagree or say that to somebody if you're on the same playing field. Jim's on the same playing field for movies.
Right.
He's seen like 2 movies and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to see Knives Out. It's Clue." I was like, "You haven't seen it. How do you know?"
Oh yeah. So, and I legitimately, you've seen me in action with Jim.
Yeah.
Big Jim fan.
Jim's great. I love Jim. But I hung out with him last weekend.
I was like, man, Jim's capable of hurting me. Like that made me upset. So anyway,
Jim is not as cranky on the internet or in real life
definitely
as he seems to be on the internet.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And when I'm around Jim, sometimes I try to even like play up, like get him going.
Prod him.
Right, yeah.
You can't piss off Jim in real life.
Like get him to be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And he's like, oh, whatever. Like to each their own. But yeah, on the internet, he's a little
real
more,
cranky pants.
A little more of a grumposaurus. Yeah. I hope that Jim is not insulted by me saying that.
Jim definitely does not listen to this podcast. You're fine.
Does Jim do podcasts at all? Do you think?
Yes, he does a few.
I'm trying to ask where. I'm trying to think. What would he listen to? He definitely doesn't listen to anything on the Ringer.
Oh, I could expose him. You say on the record?
On the Ringer.
Oh no, probably not.
Probably not on the
on the record. He probably doesn't like.
Yeah,
I could expose him for one podcast.
Yeah. Well, let's not do that because where is this coming from? Oh, yeah. I'm trying not to be a hater or anything, but I saw that Taylor Swift put out that Christmas song, and she was like, "I just wrote this song, and I really want to put it out, and it's almost holiday season, blah blah." And I heard that song, and
you're like, "Get your own podcast."
Yeah. No, I heard that song, and I was like, "Yo, you can say whatever you want, Taylor." That was just like that was just like a progression that you had lying around.
Oh,
tried
yeah.
to work it
yeah.
into something and couldn't. You weren't in love with whatever you could make, so you're like, well, let's use it for something, and then you made a Christmas song. That's
yeah.
what that was.
Yeah, and I didn't buy for a second that it was like a spontaneous, like, well, I'm not going to wait a year to release it, so let's just put it out now.
Yeah.
There's nothing that girl does that is not completely premeditated
Focus
and
groups.
and just completely laid out for how it's going to work.
Right, that little cat video and the drop, that is a product of
Like, I'm not even
13
sure.
to 15 months of meticulous planning.
And she's like screaming at her cats, being
Right.
like, "You're getting the take wrong."
Some of those cats are okay.
I feel like those cats are like robots.
Really?
Yeah, like she can't have cats that fail the takes, so she just gets robotic cats that will nail the take every time.
Are you excited to see cats?
Yes, to see what it is, because it's either going to be spectacular or it's going to be the worst thing in the world,
Yeah.
and both of those things sound really appealing. There's no
Yeah.
way it falls in the middle.
I will say, to quote a friend, ending up liking cats would be a DJ thing to do. Like, I could see myself being like,
yeah, definitely.
Yo,
It has music. It's ridiculous.
I don't know anything about it.
It has
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. It has Idris Elba.
Oh, really? As Idris Elba?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. So
Like,
I'm coming
you're
around.
definitely going to be a Cats guy.
I don't know. I don't like cats. Actually, I don't dislike cats, but I'm
The animal or the
the
show?
dog guy. What?
I said the animal or the show?
The animal. They I don't know. I know that people like that they're judgmental and everything.
Yeah, I like that they have personalities. And a lot of them are assholes.
I like they keep to themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that. You can just leave. Like, you can leave a cat for like
Yeah.
couple.
So I've like, for a while I was like, oh, dogs all the way, and I fucking love dogs. I love dogs so much. I think that dogs are the greatest things in the world. But I'm like, the older I get and the more wise I get, I'm just learning that you can like a lot of things. And
Yes.
and
I was going to say cats. You know what cats and dogs are?
good.
Hockey and basketball.
You can like both of them.
People's brains explode, and like if you're a big hockey fan and you're like, wait, what do you mean you were at the basketball game? Only one sport this season, bro. And basketball fans are like, yo, like, you can like whatever you want. Cool. So I think I'm going with these guys. These guys seem way cooler.
I mean, I think dogs are the best thing in the world, but I also think that cats are very great for different reasons.
Yeah.
So you can have them both. You can like them both. I like hanging out with them both. I think that cats are probably funnier because, like, they're just the biggest assholes.
Yeah, I don't know. Dogs just do it for me. Although do you think you'll ever get a dog as an adult?
Yes, 100%.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. They're like, certain chips have to fall in certain places,
For sure, but I would run myself into a dog in a bad situation, and like I'd find a way to work around it. Like a situation where, like, I shouldn't get
Where
a
you're
dog
not
right
supposed
now.
to have a dog, yeah.
And like, I've thought about it at this apartment that I live at. I'm not allowed to have dogs. I'm like, there's definitely a way that I could sneak a dog in here.
yeah, I could sneak a dog in here. My current place, I think I could do a dog, but nah. Enough people close to me have dogs, and I get
Right.
my dog fix.
Yeah.
So what shall we do the Christmas song?
Yeah. Let's get to it.
Yeah, this was for the Patreon thing where, like, if we hit a certain amount of subscribers, then we will do certain things, and we're going to set little goals and carrots and stuff, and this was the first one, so thank you guys for doing that.
Making it happen.
Yeah, as I said, the song is very simple, took very little time to write. Most of the words were quickly done.
Are you uncomfortable right now?
I'm like physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have an itch.
Oh,
I've been-
okay.
I've been like.
I didn't know if this
over
was
my
like
shoulder.
I didn't know if this was like an
like, break down
anxiety-inducing, like something that
No,
you're
no.
not
Although
looking.
I did catch myself doing the like artists do this, and it drives me crazy. I'm not saying.
Yeah, it sort of felt like you were like being interviewed about something that you
brought
like,
up yourself.
Your creative like your creative thing.
So I'm not going to name names. A musician that we know does that. They'll post videos after they come up with a song, and they'll be like, I wrote this song when I was, let me think. I'm like, you're making the video yourself. No one just like
nobody's
threw this
putting
question
you on the
at
spot.
Yeah, you're not on the spot right now. It's so weird. Like, I don't know if you. Anyway, the quick little explanation of that is, wrote it quickly. It took a while though to do the arrangement and mix it so it sounded like anything. I still don't know if I mixed it well at all. My friend Dave Lefkin from the band Foxtrotter played piano on this, and I like a lot of things about it, but I don't know. We'll see what you bozos think. Pete's gonna listen, and we'll put it in, then we'll talk about it. This is a brunch world premiere.
This is a world premiere.
It's a world premiere.
World premiere.
What up, Bruncotchables? This is your boy Jeff, and you are listening to a brunch world premiere.
It's a world premiere.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a world premiere.
Let's go.
Merry Christmas, Pete.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
What?
You said that last time.
I think it's like a seasonal thing.
All right.
Someone's angry with coffee cups. They say they've changed them too soon. But all I hear is a choir singing silver bells to you. Forget complaining about decorating. We wouldn't do that around here, 'cause the holidays only come once a year. Oh, the holidays only come once a year. Oh, the holidays come once a year. They only come once a year. There'll be certificates of gifts and baskets of fruit. The season of sharing for old and the youth. That holiday spirit will never get long in the tooth. A cinnamon cookie to munch with a friend when that son of a bitch Kringle has done it again. Rap-a-pa-pa-pa-pa, it only comes once a year. The holidays only come once a year. Oh, the holidays come once a year. They only come once a year. So close the pantry, no more snacking. You keep me plentiful, my dear, 'cause the holidays only come once a year.
Just every episode for the next month or so, just start off with Merry Christmas.
Keep it going, maybe even a little past Christmas.
Well, that's just fucking amazing.
Ugh.
I'm blown away. It might literally be my favorite holiday song of all time.
That you
Not a
listening
joke.
to it and like laughing and smiling the whole time might be my favorite holiday song the whole time. My biggest fear was, the listeners are going to have this reaction, but at least you didn't. My biggest fear was I was going to just put it in there and you'd be like, word, cool,
Yeah.
nice job, buddy.
Well, anytime
move
you
on.
anytime you like something and you like play it for somebody, there is like that very awkward like,
Right.
What do you think? It's pretty good, right?
Right. Now imagine you don't like it, but you made it.
I fucking love it. It's amazing.
The
Fruth got me. Really
So,
got me.
I finished it yesterday. I focus grouped it a bit, sent it to a few people, sent it to Jeff, Randy, a couple of music pals, our buddy Wayne, and the only reaction it got was certificates of gifts. Haha.
Really?
And like they weren't saying like, yo, this sucks or anything,
Yeah.
but I was like, I don't know. I wanted to follow up, be like, can I please have more notes?
Anything else?
Right. Not and like again, like not looking for like it's great or whatever, but
Yeah.
just like the only feedback it got was certificates of gifts. And I was like, that's not even going to be the part that Pete likes. It's
No.
going to be the next line.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, there'll be certificates of gifts and baskets of fruit.
Okay.
The season of sharing
Yeah,
for all.
I was
for old and
completely
youth.
the whatever happened before Fruth, just throw it out the window because that's the
Yeah.
only thing that mattered to me in that song. Also, the you sandbagging son of a bitch with the world premiere.
Oh yeah. That was great.
was a-
You were like, we should have this. I was like, man, if only I'd thought of that and spent. I'm just gonna play that one more time. That's the part that I like the most out of the whole thing, really.
I mean, it's incredible. I was like, I got Jeff obviously because I think
Yeah.
he said my name is Jeff.
Yeah.
And then the second one I didn't realize was Kellen.
You missed the first one.
What's the first one?
Randy.
Randy.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
DJ. I think it's DJ Randy. DJ. Pitched up and down DJ. Jeff. DJ Jeff. Kellen. Jeff.
You couldn't have reached out to Lena. She's not really doing anything.
I thought about it. I did think about it. I was like, man, this is not a well represented.
Do not use a bullet on Lena for that.
Oh, like a favor?
Yes.
Yeah. If we got a favor that we're gonna call in with Lena, she knows way too many cool people for us to be
Yes.
like, can you do a quick voice memo for me, man? This can't be every episode, but every time I read something about Lena, it's always like the next unbelievable thing.
Did you tell them not to tell me because nobody spilled the beans?
Yes, I did. So let me
Okay.
see. I sent a video to select Patreon subscribers
Yes.
while I was working on it, and that came with a contract that they don't
Oh, really?
tell anybody, and that if they don't like it, they keep it to themselves until everybody else hears it. And then when I sent it to Jeff and Kellen and all those cats, I sent it with, Pete doesn't hear it till tomorrow, so don't text him this sucks yet. Then this is my favorite part. Hold on.
This is a brunch world
Randy.
It's a world premiere.
What up, Untouchables? This is your boy Jeff. And you are listening to a Brunch World
It's
Premiere.
a world premiere, ladies and gentlemen.
Kellen.
This is a world premiere.
Let's go.
That's awesome. Wow, I guess I miss Randy because he's such a good actor that he disguised himself so well that I couldn't tell it was him.
You know what? I asked both him and Kellen to just say, like, in their own voice, this is a world premiere. And both of them sent back, this is a world premiere. Which I think was them being like, whatever this is going to be used for, I got to distance myself
let
from
him
it.
know that I'm not taking this seriously.
Or, like, if it ends up being something stupid, people don't know that it was me. Leave me some plausible deniability. Kellen could be like, oh, this is my speaking voice. I don't talk like that.
Either way, fucking knocked it out of the park.
Cool.
I'm very proud, especially that that was our first Patreon reward.
Yeah. So congratulations and thank you to the Patreon people. I thought about putting it on like a thing, like Spotify or something like that, and that costs money, but it's not so prohibitive that we wouldn't do it. But also, I think it takes like 10 to 14 days, and I think the holidays
will be gone once the year.
Right. So we're in the Taylor Swift bind, the situation that she faced, where she was going to have to sit on it for a whole year. So I don't know. Maybe
there's a way to like send the file to anybody on Patreon.
I think you can do. I don't know. I got to look into it. But I think like Bandcamp or something. Maybe you can just upload it for free, and then people can download it. And then once you've downloaded a song, like Gilded Cage by Father John Misty, isn't on any streaming services.
Yes.
But I bought it on Amazon, and one of my friends showed me how I could add it to my Spotify.
Okay.
So if anybody wants it that badly, I am thoroughly proceeding as though people will not. But if you do,
all the Father John Misty pop songs are not available anywhere. They're just on YouTube, and like I listen to those all the time. So if we can do it, you can maybe just put it on our YouTube channel or something like that. And if you want to listen to it, just pop on the YouTube app.
May I ask you a personal question?
Yes.
Are you on a Father John Misty kick?
Yes. Yeah, you can definitely tell by the brunch social media.
So that's what's so great. I'm like, I bet they don't even know. There have been a lot of Father John Misty tweets from the brunch social media, and they have been from Pete. And that made me think. And one time I walked in, you were listening to Father John Misty, and you know what? Little detective that I am, I'm putting two and two together. I'm like, I think somebody's on a Father John Misty kick.
And the best is that, like, I'm on a Father John Misty kick without like recognizing any of his official songs.
I was going to say, I don't know. Like, have you been listening to his albums?
I've been listening to all the pop songs, his Toyota Prius commercial, his obviously Gilded Cage that never leaves the rotation.
Yep.
But also just a really strong Tiny Dancer karaoke kick.
I loved the tweet from the brunch account. Every mall in December. Merry Christmas, Satan. I actually, speaking of Father John Misty, or Josh Tillman non-Father John Misty projects, while making the holiday song, I was listening to a lot of the Christmas classics to just see how those kind of crooner songs were mixed, and I was listening to like the Frank Sinatra ones, but the sound I was trying to emulate there, probably done very poorly, was It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, Andy Williams. Because I think we've discussed this. He just sounds so drunk in that song. He's like it's the most wonderful time of the... And he just, like, his voice just sounds lubed.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like he just got on a piano at like 12:30 at night at a bar.
He's had a couple. Yeah, right? He's had a few. So then I just went down an Andy Williams rabbit hole, non-Christmas songs, and his song, I Can't Get Used to Losing You, is the song that is sampled on Hold Up, and that made me do a Hold Up deep dive, because as we do our best albums of the year and best songs and whatever's of 2010s, yeah, I've started to do it, and I'm like, I don't know, it's tough. But Lemonade and Hold Up, right? It's just there's just gonna be more next week anyway. Lemonade and Hold Up are like two of my favorite things from this last year. Hold Up in particular, probably if there were like a top 10 or top 5 songs from the last 10 years, I would say Hold Up is definitely in there, and it made me just do like a deep dive on that song, because it still blows my mind that song was... Diplo had that sample, the doom da boom da doom da doom, and he had Ezra Koenig from Vampire Weekend in to potentially do a Major Lazer song, and Ezra had tweeted something paraphrasing Maps. You know the song Maps by the IAS? Wait, they don't love you like I love you. You know that song.
Maybe.
Anyway, he tweeted, instead of wait, they don't love you like I love you, hold up, they don't love you like I love you. So Diplo told him to come up with a hook, and he just started singing those lyrics, and he came up with that chorus. And then Beyonce was like, yo, this is dope. And she'd been listening to some of the Mist Man. And she was like, yo, let's send this to Father John Misty, see if he can't come up with a verse. And Father John Misty came up with the verse and the pre-chorus. And I forget who else had a hand in it, but like that song touched so many different hands before it got to Beyonce. And it was like
a Thanksgiving dinner of gods, and they just keep like passing the plate.
Totally.
And then it ends up in Beyonce's lap.
And I have so many questions. Like there hasn't, again, like I'm saying this from having just done like a deep dive. Like I want to do like a documentary on that song and like get like, people talking about what they did and how they came up with it.
You know what you should do? An oral history. People fucking love oral histories.
Yeah, but do they read them? People love making them. I don't know if people actually read them.
Yeah, I think people read them. I think people fucking love oral histories because like anytime there's a good oral history on something that people like, it's just like it dominates Twitter for that entire day.
Yeah,
it's
tough because I don't know whether to take someone's word for it when they're like, you got to read this oral history.
That's true.
And this is bad. So someone in our line of work that I'm like,
do
I really? Do I really have to? Is this a good oral history?
Is it going to change my life?
Yeah. So anyway, that's it's wild because when that song first came out, it was definitely while this podcast was happening. I was obsessed with that song, and I don't know if I was a big Father John Misty fan yet, but I remember eventually I saw like, oh, Josh Tillman was one of the songwriters. That's pretty neat. And now that I go back and like read up on it,
all you care about.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like now that I go back and read up on it, I think it's super cool that Beyonce was like, yo, this is...
Well, it's very cool that
was probably around like Honey Bear or something.
Yeah.
So like Beyonce's listening to I Love You Honey Bear.
That's
and
insane.
Is like, hey, I want Josh Tillman to be in on Beyonce music.
I mean, it's insane that Beyonce listens to Father John Misty, and two, it's very cool when like these very huge superstars are like don't have such a big ego,
totally,
that they're like, let's send it to somebody else that's amazing,
right,
and see if they can do something.
It's so fucking weird. Like even like these,
I just always imagine like anybody who is at that level to be like. Very controlling, very like this is mine. I'm doing it the way that I want to do it.
Right. I don't know. It's like I'm not even a fucking musician, but like anything that I come up with that's like creative, I'm always like
very protective over it.
This if I started this, then I should be the one that finishes it, and I should be the only one that does it. Or if I give it to somebody, like, what if they do it better than I do it, or whatever?
Yeah.
So it's wild that, like, Beyonce, who maybe it's just because she is Beyonce, and she's like, well, no one's gonna think Father John Misty's better than me, so yeah, sure, yeah, Diplo, do whatever you, yeah, Ezra, cool. Like, no matter what happens,
yeah,
I can like
I'm still the fucking star here.
Imagine that being able to like stare down Vampire Weekend and be like, you can't fucking touch me, you can't put a dent in me. Yeah, sure. Write my song. Yeah. Shout out
true.
Beyonce. Did you ever watch her Netflix thing, Homecoming?
No.
I have no idea how I didn't watch that. I still haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched anything on Netflix really other than Schitt's Creek.
Oh, you're doing that?
Yeah. Very good.
How about Marriage Story?
Oh, I did watch Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Wow, great transition.
That's a good little transition. This episode, by the way, brought to you by nobody. Marriage Story.
Yes,
Hell of a movie.
Marriage Story, fucking unbelievable movie.
I thought the first 5 minutes, or like the first like 10 to 15 minutes, I was like, buckle up, Deej. This is your favorite movie you've ever seen.
Really?
And it didn't end up being my favorite movie I've ever seen, but I thought it was great, and I thought that performances all around, awesome.
I mean, that's the
Laura
one.
Dern.
That's the one takeaway. I mean, even Ray Liotta.
Yes.
In a supporting role. I was like, Ray Liotta knocked it out of the park.
Courtroom scene between Laura Dern and Ray Liotta while Driver and ScarJo are just serving looks and reacting. Incredible. This movie also, by the way, was out of focus porn.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, the movie was shot great.
Totally.
It's just a very good aesthetic. I mean, obviously, the biggest takeaway is that every performance in this movie was like
really,
unbelievable.
Really good, yeah.
Like career best for almost everybody involved.
Yeah, someone asked me after, they were like, they hadn't seen it yet, and they were like, how was everybody in it? I was like, everybody's really good. I was like, Scarlett Johansson I thought was great, and then we got into a conversation of like, do we think Scarlett Johansson's a particularly great, like, have I ever really thought about if Scarlett Johansson's great.
Never really knocked my socks off, but she never really
Right.
takes away from the enjoyment ever.
Right. The only thing I could contribute to that was that I didn't love Lost in Translation as much as everybody else, but I feel like that's almost become a thing. That's become like a group that, I think people do call Lost in Translation overrated now, but like I don't
Okay.
think she was bad in that movie. I just thought that movie wasn't that amazing.
Okay.
But she was great in The Jungle Book. Remember? She was a snake.
Yeah, she was very sexy.
Right.
Or
Sexy, phallic.
sensual.
Yeah, snake.
She was the horniest snake.
Yes. And Adam Driver plays the horniest snake in this
What?
movie. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say, what?
Well, he cheats on her.
He once, and he doesn't consider it cheating.
That is
So he
tough.
totally off the books.
that's pretty rough. Well, if you think about it,
You
I don't
weren't having
consider
sex
it-
with me.
I don't
I
consider
wasn't
it cheating,
cheating.
therefore it's not. Like, so
When he said that, it was like his reason. He's like, "Well, you stopped having sex with me. I didn't cheat on you."
right. Like,
Sure, man.
uh,
Like, and she didn't really counterpunch there. She was like, "Okay."
yeah. I don't know. I've not been in that situation, I guess, of we're in the middle of a divorce and like you did whatever.
Yeah, but
But-
that wasn't like in the middle of a divorce. That was just like she had stopped having sex with him, like while they were together.
Oh no! I'm saying like how they navigated that.
Oh,
that,
yeah,
that big
yeah.
argument. But yeah, man. This movie moved me to tears. I think twice.
Oh, wow. I don't think that I cried at all, but like I was just very captivated.
My friends and I discussed that after. There's a difference. There's tears and there's crying.
Like well up.
Right, like you get tears in your eyes, and
They don't necessarily have to fall.
And I think I got tears in my eyes during the fight scene, and then I cried at the end of the movie.
Okay. I don't think that either one happened to me. And I was just sort of like captivated by the movie the whole time. And
Yeah.
like it didn't necessarily like move me to like cry or well up, but I was like, wow, this is very sad, but also very fascinating.
I think that this movie did a good job of honestly capturing the phenomenon. This is going to be controversial. This is going to be a bad take, whatever. I'm not trying for it to be a bad, unproductive thing, but the way they captured what we call gaslighting, I think was very real. And the more I think about it, I think that a lot of cases of gaslighting, like I did not think that Adam Driver was like a bad guy and that he even intentionally was gaslighting her.
Mm-hmm.
He for sure was gaslighting her, but I think that was just like the dynamic of their relationship. And the longer two people know each other, like a dynamic between them becomes formed.
Yeah.
And like their dynamic happened to be that he would always have an answer for everything. And I don't think that he intentionally was like, well, I'm gonna trick her into seeing things my way.
No, I think that like if you are a manipulative person or like have manipulative
Right, like
tendencies,
if you can manipulate somebody, yeah.
yeah, and like you're not necessarily always like
I'm gonna get
consciously thinking that you're going to manipulate somebody, but it's just like the way that your brain operates at some point, and then like maybe later you take a step back and realize it.
Yeah.
But I do think that he was sort of that way, and I think that he was so selfish that he didn't even really. And she says it at a point in the movie, like
yeah.
you are so selfish that you don't realize how selfish you are.
Yeah, but it was weird. Like I don't know. Like I felt for him in some ways. I mean, I felt for both of them. Both of them were.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Both of them were not good to one another, and I guess that's the story of a dead relationship. But.
So, like, what I like so much about this movie is what I like so much about 500 Days of Summer, where it doesn't necessarily paint like one character
good guy,
as
this is
like
a
the
bad guy.
yeah, right. Like, and especially coming from Noah Baumbach, who like this is basically like his true story of his divorce with his
really?
wife. Yeah, and like the fact that he was able to write that movie and write the dialogue and have it like sort of shaped the way that it was without painting somebody as like a villain
Right.
or whatever. I think that's really cool. And honestly, like, I think that if there's anybody that is painted in a worse light in this movie, it's Adam Driver, who is
Yeah.
Noah Baumbach. And so, like, that I think is very admirable.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we could do. I think you did a scorecard of 500 Days of Summer.
This would be a good movie for it too.
You could do it with this movie, but I wouldn't want to.
Right.
Like
So, like, the why I did it was for 500 Days of Summer was
To prove
because everybody, like, anybody with a basic mind is like, oh, Summer's a bitch.
Right,
And it's like,
right.
no. It's like the movie is told through Tom's point of view. So, like, she seems like a bad person at some points in the movie, but it's also because it's being told by Tom. And like, this one is definitely a more neutral perspective.
yeah. Do they don't say that word in the movie, do they? Does one of them?
Bitch?
Yeah.
In 500 Days of
Yeah.
Summer?
Does one of them?
I don't know. But, like, I've definitely seen takeaways where, like, oh, Summer's a bitch.
Yeah. That's. Yeah.
I bet they do say it at least one point. Oh, they definitely say it because it's from Tom's perspective, and I definitely think that he calls her a bit. Or
no.
the friend.
Opening credits. No, opening credits say this is like not dedicated to whomever or whatever, and then it says B word as an F.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wild. Anyway, this was a great, but also difficult movie. You know who's the most underrated person in the movie?
The first lawyer.
No, he's good though.
The first lawyer is very
What's he
fucking
in?
funny.
He's in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, but I have
think
no
he
idea.
might be like a famous actor.
He's like that guy.
Is he?
Alan
That's
Alda.
not Alan Alda, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I was gonna say it's probably Alan Alda. Damn. He was in 30 Rock. What else was he in?
MASH.
Oh, I think that was his big thing. He was also in whatever. Anyway, it's whatever. He's 83. Shouts out Alan Alda.
He was very funny in this.
The scene where he's telling the joke to Adam Driver.
Yes,
is great.
yes. The scene.
I'm sorry, am I paying for this joke?
I think my biggest laugh was, if I was representing you, and he was like, "You are representing me." Right. Yes.
Shit. What was it? Oh no, most underrated person in the movie, the woman who observes.
Oh my god,
Adam Driver with the kid.
Unbelievable.
She was so good. She's my favorite actress, I think. She is incredible.
To be able to
so
keep
monotone,
that,
and so uncomfortable.
It was
in an already super uncomfortable situation.
Right. Like that came after the fight scene. And if you're like, oh, if this movie's gonna get even more uncomfortable, you wouldn't believe it after that scene.
Enter the greatest actor of our time. She was amazing.
The knife scene is fucking unbelievable.
Were you concerned as you were watching that?
Yes. Yeah.
I was
yeah.
Is this? The movie's been going on for like an hour and a half. This could be it.
I was very concerned about the carpet during that scene because he was like holding his arm down. I was like, oh, there's blood gushing down his arm, and it's going to be all over the carpet. There's no way he's going to be able to get that out.
No, remember? He said he was returning it too.
The carpet?
Yeah. He was putting out stuff for the lady when she came, and the kid was all excited, and he was like, well, we're taking a lot of this stuff back.
God. It gave me such bad anxiety. Like that's all. It felt bad that I was like, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that was my.
This guy's dying, and I'm like, oh my god, protect the carpet.
Oh my god, that scene was too much. But the scene at the end wrecked me.
Yeah, I mean that was not predictable, but like that's kind of the only way that it could end, I suppose. And yeah, it was tough, but like. At the end of the day, I think it's sort of, again, not to go back to 500 Days of Summer, but like I think it's a happy ending.
Yeah,
for all parties involved.
Funny scene when she hooks up with the lighting
the
guy.
douchebag.
Yeah, with the clown, but she's just like feeling that like she's taking control of her life.
Yeah,
and she dictates exactly what's going to happen. She's like, "This is what
you get. Take it or leave it.
You're going to do this." And that is it. That's all I'm doing. And he's like, okay. And then she says something. She's like I'm in control or something. It's fucking awesome. She was really, really good in it. But they were both so...
They were both unbelievable. I think right now, if I had to pick, I think Adam Driver, best actor for me.
Yeah.
Like he was unbelievable.
Yeah, I guess it's time to think about... Because I see these movies and I think like best picture or no, and that's it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, got to think about the old best actor, actress, best supporting.
I mean, Adam Driver,
I'd be okay with Laura Dern getting best supporting.
She was great. But like for me, Adam Driver is like the perfect sort of like candidate for best actor in this movie because like one, it has the scenes. Like there's always those like certain scenes that stick with you, and those are always the ones that they play at the Oscars. And then like when they go through the candidates at the Oscars, you're like, fuck, I think that guy might win it because of that scene.
Yeah.
And so this movie for sure has it. And I also think that like, as with almost any Baumbach movie where like it's so character driven and so like performance driven that like he had the toughest job maybe of anybody in the category this year. So that's probably my pick.
You know what the thing about Baumbach is that whenever I see that name or hear that name, it just sounds like someone smushed Benedict Cumberbatch together and all the extra letters just like flew up and got squeezed out, and then Baumbach is the name.
That's
my take on
best director.
Yeah, that's my take on Baumbach.
For like, I'm not like the biggest Baumbach fan, just because
I had to ask you. I was like, I see that guy's name.
Yeah.
What did he do again? And he did the was it While We're Young?
He did either it's When We're Young or While We're Young.
When You Were Young.
Yes, by the Killers.
By the Killers.
He did that one. He did
that had a
Okja.
graphic oral sex scene.
Did it?
When You Were Young?
No, it didn't. Did it? No.
This was a Brandon Flowers joke.
Oh, you motherfucker. Okay, I was like, I saw that movie, and I don't recall that. But yeah, he did.
Joke being devotees. He does Brandon Flowers, you know what, his own you know what, because he seems like he's a fan of himself.
Yeah,
that's not insulting him, by the way.
While We're Young, and he did the Meyerowitz stories. He did the Squid and the Whale. Francis Ha, I didn't see that one. Kicking and Screaming. The Life Aquatic.
Kicking and Screaming?
Yeah, not the soccer one.
No, the one with shoot, who's in it? I don't know anybody who's in it. I think Perry Reeves is in it for a second.
You definitely do.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, so he did that
kids
one.
That just graduated college.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
He did that one. He did The Life Aquatic. He did The Fantastic Mr. Fox, which doesn't seem to fit in. But yeah, like, so for like, I thought While We're Young was okay. The Meyerowitz stories drove me crazy just because I couldn't stand how neurotic the characters were. And
might as
so
well
like,
be When Harry Met Sally, am I right?
But like, yeah, but like Noah Baumbach is like an it director at this point. So I think I finally get it. Like this one kind of blew me away.
I would say this is my favorite of his that I've seen, although I legitimately think I've only seen 3. Hey, so that's would you say this movie's top 10 for the year?
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
I would say it's in the 5 to 10 range.
Yeah. Like I think it might be closer to like 5, 6, 7 there. So yeah.
You know what I can't wait to do?
What?
Whenever a new movie enters the top 10, I get rid of the movie that I had 9.
Because you're not getting rid of.
So I can keep Cold Pursuit as an icebreaker.
What was 9 before?
As a conversation piece. Let's see. I may have updated it. Shoot. Let me see. You make it feel like Christmas. 9 was The Lighthouse. See ya, The Lighthouse. There's a new Marriage Story in town.
Yeah, I think you're gonna put it at 9. And then rearrange
I'll
after
figure
that?
it out.
Yeah. I mean, like this movie.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood might get pushed down.
Yeah, I mean, like these movies, like the later movies that have come out and like we've snuck into the top 10.
Yeah,
could be recency bias, but I feel like they have more of a staying power.
But even when seeing some of those movies, when seeing some of the earlier ones, I didn't think like, oh, I hope this is like in my top 5. You know, like I didn't think that they were elite. Whereas these ones, I'm like, Like I think that Marriage Story was really, really good.
Yeah, and I think that it's gonna like hold more staying power, and it's I'm definitely interested in rewatching it too, which is weird because it is such a tough movie. I don't know, like there's something about this movie that it is very difficult, but also like very endearing and very like you like all the characters, and you're sort of rooting for all the characters, even as they're going up against each other, which is extremely, extremely like a weird experience.
Yeah,
but it is also like that's sort of what divorce is,
right? You like they have to be so ugly, like the stuff of, and I know this does happen. You go and you meet with every attorney,
so that they can't
to like
represent you,
that's
so shitty, like
right,
yeah.
But that's what her lawyer told her to do,
right?
So
it is like a very, very interesting sort of like study of divorce, and I think that it's pretty accurately represented. And my mom watched it, and she was like, "This is a really good movie. It hits extremely close to home because my parents are divorced." She's like, "It hits extremely close to home, and it gets a lot of things right about divorce." And I was like, "That has got to be the worst. That is
brutal to watch.
That has got to be the worst." And like, it is very interesting where it's a story that starts off at like a very amicable place, because a lot of divorces do not. A lot of divorces do not start off at that place. So to see one that starts off at like a pretty amicable place and then devolves into what it devolves to is like very painful to watch.
But it was also amicable because they both assumed that they were going to get what they wanted. So they were like, we don't need lawyers because I'm going to get what I want.
Right.
And then I think that it probably took ScarJo meeting with a lawyer to realize, like, oh, wait, this guy's always kind of been manipulative, and he's just probably going to take everything that I can. That was, man, like I said, you feel for both of these characters at points during this movie, but, man, all that flying around and having to get in and like not having any money and trying to run around to keep up with stuff just to be able to see your kid for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
The money thing really like it gave me anxiety.
I was constantly thinking of like, how is he affording this rental car?
How much is this costing?
Right.
Yeah. Like, how is he staying at this hotel? He's staying at a hotel. Why doesn't he just stay with her? Oh, because they're getting divorced.
Right. The trick or treat, that was tough when he went there and he was planning on staying at the mom's house.
Yeah.
And she was like, so where are you staying? It's like, oh,
awful. And also just like the fact that he came into like $500,000 and then like, see ya.
Get any of it. Yeah. And most people getting divorced don't just come into $500,000. So, man.
Yeah, and
great movie though.
Tremendous movie. Like
Big recommendation. And it's on Netflix. You got no excuse. Like,
yeah,
watch that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, big fan.
What else? Silicon Valley ended.
Yeah, it did. And if you didn't realize that, don't feel bad about it, because
you're not
neither
alone.
did I.
Yeah. I was last night I was like, I'm going to watch an episode of something before I go to sleep. I think Silicon Valley's over, and I checked and I was like, yeah, I have 2 episodes on my thing. I'm gonna knock these out.
You had been like largely keeping up with it.
I think I did like 2 every 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that it ended last week, and I knew that it was a shorter season. I think it was 7 episodes. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I had only watched like the first 2. So honestly, if you hadn't watched it, I would have been totally cool. Just, I don't care. I don't need to see the end of it. Yeah, or even like not even seeing the end.
Season
how it
stunk.
ended.
It wasn't a good season.
Season was bad, but I did really like the way that it was finished.
Good finale. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know if I'd say really liked.
I think I'm usually satisfied with finales. I'm not a finale hater.
Yeah, I mean, because there is.
Oh, didn't know it's my favorite show and it ended, so I'm going in angry because it's over and it didn't do everything I wanted it to do. Primarily, it didn't continue to be a show. The finale sucked.
As long as it doesn't anger me at the end, or as long as it's not complete fan service to the point where it's like, oh god.
Right.
And I thought there was a very happy medium in the Silicon Valley. Even like the final 2 episodes, 2 or 3, where it's like it provided a bit of fan service, especially in the finale, where like they sort of went through and had some nods back to the things that that they had done throughout the stretch, and sort of encapsulated the entire run. But also, like, in the final couple episodes, it really got back to what made the show good in the first place,
right?
Which was like the central group of characters that that they had first introduced at the beginning, and also being really smart about making fun of the tech industry in ways that were like preposterous, but also really not that far from what actually exists.
They had their one last, oh no, we're going to fuck everything up and we've got to frantically try to fix this, and here goes nothing, we'll see if it works. And that happens so many times in the show that the first, like, I don't know, 6 to 10 were amazing, and then occurrences 11 through 600 were unbearable.
Well,
but like their last big one was, I think, perfectly centered. That like this would be the fuck up that they're chasing down. As
it makes
the
a lot
Pied
of
Piper
sense.
thing concludes,
it makes a lot of sense in the grand scheme of the entire show and what it's about. Like the final sort of
ties in a lot of the things that they keep saying throughout this series.
Right. Yeah, and it's not totally meaningless, which I felt like a lot of the hurdles in the tail end of the show were just like, who the fuck cares? You're gonna find a solution.
Right.
It's just get it over with and let's move on to the next thing and get closer to the end.
If they cut off if they cut off like 2 seasons and had this same finale, then
great.
It would have been. And I guess that's what I want to hit with you is like, where does Silicon Valley sit for you? Because the first few seasons were all time.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And it just lasted so long. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of like, who's a band that put out like a couple of awesome albums and then put out like 16 shitty albums, and you're like, I guess I have to say that band's not that good, even though they did amazing things. That's perfect, actually. Weezer is perfect, because even when Weezer was doing lame shit, it still wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So like, you're still gonna check it out.
Like, it didn't make you write them off.
Right.
It was just like, this isn't as good as it used to be.
Right. Yeah, the Weezer's a good man. You got that in 1 second. Weezer's a very good comparison there. But I mean, it doesn't change that the first three seasons.
As always, like, if it gets bad towards the end. And like, I don't think that Silicon Valley had enough of a prolonged stretch where it was great.
Yeah.
To like be able to say, well, I'd just disregard those final few seasons, because like it was almost bad for as long as it was good.
I would agree with that. Probably even how many seasons was it?
Like 5, I think, 5 or 6.
Okay, and if 3 were good, but here's what I would give Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley had a great first season.
Yeah.
How many shows can you say that about?
Very few, especially
Very few.
Especially with like a comedy of its like
Right.
it knew exactly what it was from the second that it started.
That is unheard of. We always use Parks and Rec as the example of like, it's an all-time show, and you watch that first episode and it had no clue. It just knew it had good people.
It was just trying to find its footing.
Right,
It spent
but it
an
was
entire season trying to find its footing.
And it got there, and people stuck with it because they were like, it's got Amy Poehler, it's got Rashida Jones, the rest of these people seem nice.
Yeah.
And the rest of these people ended up being Aubrey Plaza and Aziz Ansari and Retta and all these like people who would go on to have amazing careers.
And you can say about Silicon Valley too is like their cast.
How did I skip what's his face there, by the way?
Who?
I just said
Chris Pratt?
everybody but Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, like they I feel like Parks and Rec like made those people into stars. I mean, I guess you could say that about Silicon Valley, but Silicon Valley like had its fucking cast, its center cast, and it never deviated from that.
Right. I mean, people knew T.J. Miller when it came out.
He was probably the
People
biggest
knew-
one, or Martin Starr.
Yeah, it was very close between those three: Zach Woods, Martin Starr, and T.J. Miller. But Zach Woods wasn't beloved, which is so fun. It's so funny to me that there was ever a time that Zach Woods would come on a screen and people wouldn't be like, "Yes, this guy rules." And now when I go back and watch,
Was he in season 1? Or did he come in? Okay.
He
okay.
leaves.
Hooley.
He quits Hooley right off the bat
Okay.
to join them. But yeah, like when I go back and watch The Office now, I'm so much more jazzed about Gabe's scenes than I was initially. But I think that it was just because Gabe was a new character,
right?
And he joined when the series
anytime you have like
dropped off.
anytime you have a beloved cast and like they bring in somebody new, you're sort of skeptical,
right?
Because like you don't want that to mess up the dynamic that you have with the show that you already like.
Did you like Andy Bernard at first?
Yeah, I thought Andy was fine.
I absolutely did. I was totally on board. I was like, I like this whole Stanford situation.
Yeah.
Like Rashida Jones, like
the Call of Duty scenes with Andy and Rashida, fucking great.
Just threatening. I don't know if that would fly. Just threatening to kill.
A lot of shit would fly in the Office universe.
I think Steve Carell has acknowledged that, by the way.
Oh yeah,
he's like, I don't want to like reprise any Michael Scott stuff. Like he was a bad guy, and back then you could be a bad guy. You could have like a tone deaf guy and kind of get away with it. I don't want to say those lines anymore.
But yeah, like I mean, like the Silicon Valley thing, I thought it was the finish was strong, but I don't think that it's enough to wash the taste out of my mouth of the final few seasons.
Right.
Especially like maybe if the entire season had been really good, I could have gotten to that place, but like for the majority of the last season, it wasn't very good. I didn't give a fucking shit about
AT&T stuff and all that.
I mean, like the AT&T stuff was interesting just because it was like an actual real life sort of connection,
and it at least seemed like that was the last thing.
Yeah,
that was the last thing they were working on. So I was like, all right, I'll turn my brain on for a second.
I didn't give a shit about the girl that Zach Woods Gwart. Like she did absolutely nothing for me.
Question. Problematic. Gwart has no lines.
Yeah, that's true. We have to ask the question. Like,
why?
Yeah. Is it because Silicon Valley is
If
sexist?
you're listening to this conversation, you don't watch. So I think Silicon Valley, the show, has been called sexist. And I don't know any of these people. I'm inclined to think
it should be.
Yeah.
But it should be sexist.
Right. Like if they're depicting like,
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley. Yeah.
Like if you're depicting the tech industry, your show has to be sexist.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm inclined if they're like, hey, why aren't there any women on the show? You're like, yeah, there should be. But as no, to your point, they're portraying a very, very male heavy field.
Yes.
Which I guess like that show, like people don't, no one's trying to watch that now. Like if that show were to start right now, people would be like, we're not grandfathering this. We don't want to watch this.
But yeah, I did not care about Gwart at all. I
thought that Jared, the last season, was good. His lines were funny, and especially the way he talks about the other Richard's assistant.
Yes,
the guy that he basically squeezes.
He's a bitch,
right? Like he's like.
There was a lot of Jared turning it on and off in the final season, which is always enjoyable. And like I said, I think the last time that we talked about it, like the scene where he is kicking through the bottom of the door trying to get at
Richard, right?
Richard,
what is it? Rich, does he insult Gwart or something?
Yeah, and he's trying to get at him. I thought that was very funny. I will say it till the end of time. Like, what's his name? Gavin Belson should have been off that show like 2-3 years ago. He just overstayed his welcome like crazy. He was such a good character in the beginning, and he just became such a caricature of what he initially was.
But I think they were like, we can't afford this much turnover. They were probably scared. They were like, we can't have this many.
That's the thing. They just didn't take risks.
Yeah.
Like they kept doing the same thing over and over and over again.
TJ Miller totally called it.
Yeah.
Said it in real time. He was like, this is
he
what the
really
show does.
did.
I can't do this.
Yeah. And he left at a time where I was like, what a fucking idiot. The show is so good.
Yes.
And like, what is TJ Miller going to do? And like, he hasn't done anything good.
Sure hasn't.
But you know what? He wasn't on Silicon Valley when it was bad.
Yeah, but I wonder, it would have still been good if he was on it? Maybe? It would have diminished.
Yeah, it probably would have.
Like the joke would have gotten old, I guess, but
like all their jokes got old, so they probably to say that TJ Miller would have saved it single-handedly, I don't think so.
Yeah. it turns out Richard Jewell doesn't come out in Boston tomorrow.
That's not true. I'm going to see it tomorrow.
Not Richard Jewell.
Uncut Gems.
Man,
Gems and Jewels.
Yeah. Uncut Gems. Yeah, it doesn't come out in Boston tomorrow. Remember I had this whole big day planned. I was going to go see every movie. Now I think So I was going to see Uncut Gems, Richard Jewell, and Black Christmas. And I was like, probably not going to see Black Christmas. Save that for sometime next week. Uncut Gems, not in Boston. Richard Jewell, hella problematic.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably just going to go see Black Christmas tomorrow.
I mean, I gotta see. I'm gonna see Richard Jewell no matter what.
1,000,000%, yeah.
Like I gotta see it. I'm very curious. But I told you, man. I told you that
don't get excited.
Don't get excited about it. And like the earlier reviews say that one, it's not very good,
right?
And two, it's problematic.
I can't believe. I can't believe myself that I didn't question.
Clint Eastwood
more.
Yeah,
I was like,
what?
I mean, it might be bad and weird and stuff, but whatever. Clint Eastwood's old. But like, I forgot about the remember the like Obama empty chair thing?
Yeah.
He's so weird.
Dude, I'm telling you, like,
and like
at this point in time, like, I feel like it's sort of signed, sealed, delivered that like Clint Eastwood makes movies just so that he can be like slightly racist, slightly problematic, and like do it in a way that like is not like it's right in your face, and somehow he's not getting canceled. Like it feels like Clint Eastwood is actively trying to get canceled, and people are just like, well, it's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I think that. So I'm very hesitant to see the movie. I am going to see it probably tomorrow, but God, I hate that he just made up as much stuff as he did, and
he didn't
I think
necessarily make it up, but like he took liberty. There's no way to like prove it one way or another,
right?
But like he took liberties in a place where like if you don't know for sure, you shouldn't do it.
Right,
especially when the person is dead and they cannot like come back. And so like the big scandal is that like it's not a spoiler because it's being reported everywhere. Like in the movie, the reporter covering the jewel case sleeps with a source to get information, and that person in real life has since died, and it was never proven that she slept with a source to get information.
Not even it was never even suggested.
Really?
Nobody. Yeah, he didn't like take some conjecture and put it in there. There was never anything that suggested that, and he just made her. He just made her the what's the word? The femme fatale.
Sure,
it's all like the seductive woman who's the bad guy.
Like she'll do whatever it takes,
right? And so he made her that, and apparently he didn't check with anybody on anything. This is just like, and again, we're doing the thing that we don't like to do, which is shit on a movie and say what's wrong with it when we haven't seen it.
But like that's a thing that you can't do no matter what. Like,
like
the movie could be really good.
Right.
You still shouldn't like just make that up about a dead person who can't respond.
Right. And I think that you could hear this and think, fellas, you're sounding pretty hypocritical. You got so mad at everybody else when they were shitting on Green Book when they hadn't seen it. Here's the distinction I'll make. Green Book was inspired by a true friendship, and this is based on a true story.
Yeah.
So one is, okay, this is going to be a light thing, and there's going to be a lot of liberties taken. If Queen had said that, I would have said, okay, make up whatever you want.
Yeah.
This, based on a true story, and it seems really to push the fake news thing, which drives me crazy.
It's a rant. It's probably a rant. I haven't
like
seen
a
the movie,
rant
so
of a movie.
It's a rant. Yeah, it's Clint Eastwood making a rant through his movie about fake news and about shit like that. And like I think there's a distinction between Green Book too, because like Green Book, while it might take like those liberties, and those liberties might piss people off, and like the way that it stretches a story, it doesn't make anybody look like a horrible person. At least like not in like the two main characters.
Right. I would say that it paints. If I'm forgetting a scene in the movie or whatever, apologies, but I don't think it paints Don Shirley in a bad light.
No.
At all. And it clearly portrays him as the adult.
Right. Yeah.
Between
100%.
the two.
And this one is like, it's like shaming like a person, and
Right.
it's like it's saying possibly like the worst thing that you could say about like this person and their morals, as like approach to their job and their life's work.
It's
and
cheap. It's just
it's a very cheap tactic.
It's a cheap shot.
And and you can say whatever you want to about like that person and how they did their job based off of like the actual story, and like because obviously that's what the movie is about.
Yeah.
And like maybe that person wasn't the biggest moral standard or whatever to begin with.
Maybe.
But like, so use what you fucking have.
Yeah.
Use what's been proven. Use what is like not contestable. Rather than going to the cheapest tactic and like a low blow that you absolutely cannot prove.
I wanted something crazy. I read the entire demand letter that the Atlanta Journal-Constitution sent to Clint Eastwood.
Really?
It's like 4 pages long.
You read the entire thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, yo, knock it off. You better say. They said that they demand that Clint Eastwood release a statement saying that creative liberties were taken, and that I forget her name. I'm always afraid that if I'm going to Google this name before I say it. I'm always afraid that when I say a name wrong, I say the name of somebody that like I know, and then I'm just like randomly like throwing people out
Kathy
there.
Scruggs.
I searched Kathy Scruggs. I was
Oh,
like,
did
is there
you?
like a Kathy Scruggs that I know or something? But so Kathy, they're like, you got to note that Kathy Scruggs didn't do this, that it was never suggested she did this, and you've got to put it in a prominent place in the film. So like at the beginning of the movie or something, or at the beginning of the movie, you got to say like, yo, you're about to watch some bullshit. Or at the end, you have to say,
you're about to watch some bullshit, and also here's a spoiler.
Right.
Yeah.
Spoiler, the sex scene that's upcoming didn't happen.
Interesting headlines on the Kathy Scruggs Google. Olivia Wilde, who, by the way, plays Kathy Scruggs.
Yeah.
Olivia Wilde on Richard Jewell controversy. I do not believe Kathy Scruggs traded sex for tips from source.
So I was reading something, and I was reading whatever article had that whole demand letter in there. I think it's funny whenever they drop a legal document into an article. It's just the one page and you can click through it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a PDF.
Yeah, they just drop a PDF in there. I like that. I wish they just did that with parts of articles. Otherwise,
they did with news.
Makes it feel a little shorter. Yeah, it's like, oh, I only have like 5 more inches to read, but really it's like 35 pages. But in that piece, it was like Olivia Wilde, who plays Scruggs, and then like hyperlinked, has defended the movie's portrayal of her. And I didn't click the link, but I remember thinking as I was waiting to get to the demand letter, I was like, no, she didn't. I was like, there's no way Olivia Wilde was like, oh, she fucked that guy. There is no way. She probably said whatever, and I'm not... I know they're different movies, so I hate that I keep going back to Green Book, but it's the only other one recently where there was so much stuff about it not lining up. But Mahershala Ali was like, I hope that we portrayed this guy right, and I hope that his family is okay with it, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was still saying, like, I think we'd made a good movie and everything. There's no way that somebody would be like, no, forget what their family told you. That's lies. I got it right.
This is interesting, though, because like this adds like a whole new twist. Olivia Wilde said, nothing in my research suggested she did so, and it was never my intention to suggest she had. That would be an appalling and misogynistic dismissal of the difficult work she did. The perspective of the fictional dramatization of the story, as I understood it, was that Kathy and the FBI agent who leaked false information to her were in a pre-existing romantic relationship, not a transactional exchange of sex for information.
Oh, so I don't even know that.
That's what she...
Oh, she was told...
That's what she... Like, that was her interpretation of the way the movie presented it. So that honestly sounds to me like she's making up, like... a reason to
Right.
excuse her being in that movie, while
Yikes.
also saying like this is appalling and misogynistic. If it were to be said,
That must suck.
I mean, that's a tough
imagine
position
being
to be
a,
in.
Yeah, being in a movie that everyone's like, "Yep, that was problematic and that was bad." I'm sure that all these actors are like, "Shoot, man, we're upstanding citizens. We didn't mean to do." I don't know, like,
I mean, that's really shitty. Like to be in that position because like she doesn't have a fucking say. Like, I guess she could not do the movie, but like she's looking for work.
yeah.
She's doing work. Like, I don't know. Like it's
I
a
don't know. I think she probably trusted that whoever was making the movie
and
had like the right story and everything.
and her mistake was trusting Clint
Clint
Eastwood,
Eastwood.
which
Yikes.
I mean, I guess to Clint Eastwood's credit, my biggest criticism of The Mule was that he took a very interesting story and he made it boring,
And then added multiple threesomes.
Yeah, he
threesomes?
added a sex scene in that one too.
So I heard that I saw a thing where Pete Davidson and John Mulaney talk about the time they saw The Mule together. Half of it was funny. You can guess.
Okay.
And I take that back. That was a shot at Pete Davidson.
That was a low blow.
Not
Hot
trying
shot.
to hate.
No, but my biggest criticism of The Mule was that he took an interesting story and made it boring. He, at least this time, he learned from his mistakes. He took an interesting story and tried to make it more interesting, but he did it in a very wrong place.
In what Clint Eastwood thinks is interesting. He applied Clint Eastwood's interesting logic to it. Yeah, this. I wonder what we've already had a longer conversation about Richard Jewell without having seen it than I imagine we will once we actually do see it.
Probably, yeah.
We're just gonna be like, "Yo, movie sucked, right?" Yeah, word.
Merry Christmas, Pete.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
What?
You said that last time.
I think it's like a seasonal thing.
All right.
Someone's angry with coffee cups. They say they've changed them too soon. But all I hear is a choir singing silver bells to you. Forget complaining about decorating. We wouldn't do that around here, 'cause the holidays only come once a year. Oh, the holidays only come once a year. Oh, the holidays come once a year. They only come once a year. There'll be certificates of gifts and baskets of fruit. The season of sharing for old and the youth. That holiday spirit will never get long in the tooth. A cinnamon cookie to munch with a friend when that son of a bitch Kringle has done it again. Rap-a-pa-pa-pa-pa, it only comes once a year. The holidays only come once a year. Oh, the holidays come once a year. They only come once a year. So close the pantry, no more snacking. You keep me plentiful, my dear, 'cause the holidays only come once a year.
Just every episode for the next month or so, just start off with Merry Christmas.
Keep it going, maybe even a little past Christmas.